Hello friends, welcome to Technique. This is Nirmal here, and in this video we're going to compare two flagship smartphones below the 50,000 price segment in India. We have the OnePlus 9 and the Vivo X60 Pro. So these two devices pricing starts at 49,999. The OnePlus 9 8GB RAM and 128GB storage is priced 49,999, while we have the Vivo X60 Pro with the 12 gigs of RAM and 256GB storage being offered at 49,990. So these are two really flagship devices, top of the line hardware, the Qualcomm 800 series chipset, great triple camera setup, good battery life and a great software experience too. But then which of them is the better choice here? That's what we are going to talk about in this video. So this is the detailed comparison of the OnePlus 9 with the Vivo X60 Pro. Before getting started to the video, if this is your first time on the channel, do hit that red subscribe button and also hit the bell icon to get notified of all the videos we publish. So let's begin. So we have the two devices with us, the OnePlus 9 and the Vivo X60 Pro. So these are the two devices. So we're gonna check all the aspects and see which is the better value for money device out there. Both are priced 50,000. Now the base variant of the OnePlus 9 gets 8GB RAM, while you get 12 gigs of RAM on the Vivo X60 Pro. So let's get started. First is the design and build quality. Now one thing what is stand out on the Vivo X60 Pro is the curved display, which gives a slightly premium aspect. Now the OnePlus 9 has a flat display, while the OnePlus 9 Pro has a curved display. Now in terms of design, you can see that both are really good looking device out there, great design, the camera layout, and you can also see that the Vivo X60 Pro and the OnePlus 9 has quite a similar camera placement, and the camera rectangle layout also looks quite similar. Now we have a glossy finish on the OnePlus 9, while it's a satin finish on the Vivo X60 Pro. Now both are really good in terms of usability. Vivo X60 Pro is slightly slimmer and also lightweight than the OnePlus 9, not by a huge margin though, but design seems to be slightly on the stronger side on the Vivo X60 Pro. So it's more of a personal choice. You can see that both that looks really good. Now personally I like the design of the Vivo X60 Pro. Not that the OnePlus 9 is bad in terms of design, it's equally good, but it's more of a personal choice for me. Now moving on to the build quality. So this is one area where these two devices differ. We have a plastic frame on the OnePlus 9, while we have a metal chassis on the Vivo X60 Pro. So the build quality definitely feels slightly better on the Vivo X60 Pro compared to the OnePlus 9. So that's the design and build quality. So overall in terms of design and build quality, our personal pick would be the Vivo X60 Pro. Couple of reasons. One is the curved display, which gives a premium feel. Then the finishing of the back panel again feels richer on the Vivo X60 Pro, and the build quality is metal chassis on the Vivo X60 Pro. Next, let's move on to the display. Now both these devices have an AMOLED display. We have a fluid AMOLED display. That's the proprietary term used by OnePlus. Now the Vivo X60 Pro also has an AMOLED display. Both are 120Hz refresh rate. Now both does a really good job in terms of colors, the refresh rate and overall clarity is again quite similar. So nothing much to decide between these two devices. We felt both are really good. Now the additional thing is that again, as I said before, Vivo X60 Pro is a curved display. So again, that's more of a personal choice. Some people don't like the curved display because it actually causes accidental touches for few people. So that's one thing which you have to decide personally. But if you ask me, I would personally go with the curved display because it gives a slightly more premium experience. But having said that, it's more of a personal choice. Now display quality is really good on both the devices, so we can't pick a winner here. Both have 120Hz refresh rate. Now there is Gorilla Glass protection on the OnePlus 9, while it's a short sensation glass protection on the Vivo X60 Pro. Now Vivo X60 Pro additionally has Gorilla Glass 6 on the back panel, but nothing is mentioned for the OnePlus 9 as of now. So that's the display aspect of these two devices. So here we feel it's more or less a tie. Next, moving on to the software. So both the devices have Android 11 out of the box. Now let's just go to the about phone and see. So you can see that both are Android 11. Now the difference here is that OnePlus 9 has Oxygen OS, while it's a Fun Touch OS on the Vivo X60 Pro. Now if you ask me which of these is better, definitely I would go with the OnePlus Oxygen OS, because that has been more refined and one of the most loved UIs on Android. So it's a feature-rich UI and feels really nice. Now the Vivo's Fun Touch OS has been really good in terms of refinement over the period of time. Vivo has worked really well on the Fun Touch OS, and it actually feels pretty smooth now. A lot of things have been improved, a lot of customization options, and it is definitely good when you look at the OnePlus Oxygen OS. Both are equally good, but if you ask me the personal choice, which one will I go, probably I would pick the OnePlus Oxygen OS, a bit more refined UI. That being said, the Vivo's Fun Touch OS isn't bad, but probably it needs a bit more tweaking here and there. So that's the software aspect. Now let's move on to the performance side. Now here there is a major difference in terms of processor, not a major difference in terms of performance, but the processor is different. We have the Qualcomm Snapdragon 888 chipset on the OnePlus 9, while we have the 870 chip on the Vivo X60 Pro. Now 888 is definitely powerful than the 870, but 870 isn't bad. 870 is better than the 865 launched last year. Now we have 12 gigs of RAM being offered on the Vivo X60 Pro, while we have 8 and 12 gigs of RAM being offered. Both are 5G enabled chipset. Now we have LPDDR5 RAM on the OnePlus 9, while we have LPDDR4X RAM on the Vivo X60 Pro. Both are UFS 3.1 storage support. So in terms of performance, obviously in terms of raw benchmark scores and also the performance, OnePlus 9 scores over the Vivo X60 Pro because of the processor and LPDDR5 RAM compared to the LPDDR4X on the Vivo X60 Pro. But having said that, in real-time usage, we don't really see any major difference of these two devices. Both are really powerful because both of these come with the flagship chipset. You don't have much to decide between these two devices in terms of the performance side. But again, if you want the most powerful chipset out there, the OnePlus 9 has the Qualcomm 888 chipset. Now the 888 also has slightly higher heating issues, especially when gaming, compared to the 870. That's what we felt in our gaming test. The 888 was slightly heating more compared to the 870 chip. Now next, that's the performance side. Next, let's move on to the other aspect. Both of these devices does not come with a 3.5mm audio jack. Now Vivo additionally provides the adapter in the box, so you can actually use that adapter. Now additionally, the Vivo X60 Pro does not have a stereo speakers, which is available on the OnePlus 9. So if you are an audiophile, better one would be the OnePlus 9 because it comes with stereo, dual stereo speakers. Now call quality was really good on both the devices, nothing much to decide there. So again, we tried with a Jio and Vodafone. We found that the network quality is really good on both the phones. Now both of these supports 5G. We are not really sure about the network capabilities in India because the 5G is not yet auctioned in India. So we don't know which 5G network it will be available. So both of these devices does support 5G, but again we have to wait and see which network these devices will support. Next, let's move on to the camera. So we have a triple camera setup on both these devices. We have a 48 megapixel Sony IMX689 sensor on the OnePlus 9 with f-stop 1.8 aperture. We have a 50 megapixel IMX766 sensor, a 2 megapixel mono sensor, and a 16 megapixel Sony IMX471 selfie camera. Now on the Vivo X60 Pro, we have a 48 megapixel IMX598 with f-stop 1.48 aperture and gimbal stabilization 2.0, now extreme night vision 2.0, a 13 megapixel ultra wide and a 13 megapixel telephoto lens, and you get a 32 megapixel selfie camera on the Vivo X60 Pro. So that's the camera hardware. Now next, let's see the camera details. So looking at the daylight captures, you can see both of them produces really good results. The dynamic range seems to be better on the Vivo X60 Pro, and if you zoom in, you can see that the noise levels are lesser on the Vivo X60 Pro. There is a bit of over sharpening issue on the OnePlus 9, and also the dynamic range seems better on the Vivo X60 Pro. But the Vivo X60 Pro has this tendency to saturate the sky colors, which is not there on the OnePlus 9. But having said that, the OnePlus 9 color accuracy was not that great, and it was a bit of inconsistent that we have mentioned in our detailed camera review as well. So overall, in terms of daylight conditions, both performed quite well, but we would pick pick the Vivo X60 Pro. Now if you look at the close-up shots, you can see that both produces pretty good results. Color seems to be a bit boosted on both the phones, but if you look closely, you can see that the Vivo X60 Pro produces better or sharper details. Even the macro photography was better on the Vivo X60 Pro, while OnePlus 9 definitely improved on the macro photography, but it is still not as good as the Vivo X60 Pro. Now if you look at the ultra wide angle camera shots, again nothing to differentiate much. Both produces pretty good ultra wide angle camera. Now if you look at the portraits, you can see that both are inconsistent in terms of portrait experience. We mentioned that Vivo has this whitening issue, while the OnePlus 9 was also not that great, especially in terms of the skin tone. So both of them are kind of average in terms of the portrait experience. Now moving on to the low light images. This is one area where the Vivo X60 Pro definitely leads when compared to the OnePlus 9. The OnePlus 9 has this issue of blurry images because of the lack of optical image stabilization. Vivo X60 Pro on the other hand has this optical image stabilization. Along with that, there is gimbal stabilization 2.0 and the extreme night vision. So overall, in terms of low light experience, the Vivo X60 Pro is a clear winner with better details, better sharpness levels and lesser noise as well when compared to the OnePlus 9. Now finally, the selfie experience. This is one area where we would leave it to your viewers to decide which selfie experience they like better. OnePlus 9 has slightly sharper selfies compared to the Vivo X60 Pro. Now both produces quite a decent selfie experience altogether. Now moving on to the video recording. This is one area where we have the gimbal stabilization 2.0 on the Vivo X60 Pro, and as a result, extreme movement of the camera will not cause any issues because the gimbal stabilization stabilizes it pretty well. Even with the lack of OIS, video recording was quite okay on the OnePlus 9. The quality was quite good, but overall we would give it to the Vivo X60 Pro for extreme gimbal stabilization, and overall quality also looks slightly better on the Vivo X60 Pro. So overall, in terms of camera aspect, we feel the Vivo X60 Pro has the lead over the OnePlus 9. So OnePlus 9 accuracy is not that great, especially in terms of colors. Sharpness levels are also not that great, and lack of OIS at this price segment is definitely a downside, especially in the low light conditions. Now finally, moving on to the battery. So we have a 4500 mAh capacity battery on the OnePlus 9, while we have a 4200 mAh capacity battery on the Vivo X60 Pro. Now OnePlus 9 has 65 watt fast charging and Vivo has 33 watt fast charging. So in terms of charging speed, the OnePlus 9 scores way faster than the Vivo X60 Pro. Almost half the time it took for the OnePlus to charge the entire 4500 mAh capacity battery, while Vivo took almost 1 hour 5 minutes to charge. So charging is definitely faster on the OnePlus 9. Now moving on to the battery performance, even with 4500 mAh capacity battery, we felt that the OnePlus 9 battery draining wasn't that great. In fact, with the 888 chipset, the battery drain was slightly on the higher side, we felt. Probably over a period of time it might get optimized, but we felt it was slightly higher in terms of draining. Vivo also did have pretty good battery life, and if you ask me the screen on times, we got around 5 to 6 hours on the OnePlus 9, while we got around again 6.5 hours on the Vivo X60 Pro. So we can't say that Vivo is better here, but slightly better battery life was provided by Vivo even with a smaller capacity battery, because the 888 chip did drain out battery slightly higher than the Vivo's 870 chip. So that's the battery performance of these two devices. So now summing up, so we have talked about all the aspects in this detailed comparison. So let's just summarize. So design and build quality, it's the Vivo X60 Pro. Display almost similar, no clear winner. Software, it's the OnePlus 9. Now performance, again OnePlus 9 has a slight edge over the Vivo X60 Pro because of the processor and the RAM. Now you also get additionally 12 gigs of RAM and 256 gigs of storage for the same price of 8 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of storage on the OnePlus 9. That's an advantage for the Vivo. Now cameras, definitely the Vivo is the better choice here, because OnePlus 9 cameras was quite okay, but Vivo did exceptionally well in terms of low light performance, and overall camera experience was better on the Vivo X60 Pro. And battery life, again it's a mixed term. We would say none of the devices are really superior, but we would say it's a charging speed was better on the OnePlus 9. So which of these devices should you buy? So it's a really tough job to decide which of these devices should you buy, because it ultimately boils down to your preferences. Because if you are a person who wants a better software experience, also one thing to note that the software experience, apart from that, the software update cycle is slightly better on the OnePlus, because OnePlus provides updates on a regular basis. Not that Vivo doesn't provide, but Vivo does not tell what how many years they do support in terms of software experience. But Vivo's X50 series were updated to Android 11 pretty quickly, so we can expect that for the X60 series as well. But in terms of software experience, probably the OnePlus is the better choice. But if you want cameras, you should be going with the Vivo X60 Pro. So it's ultimately it boils down to your personal preference. If you want a better software experience, go with the OnePlus 9. But if you want a better camera experience, go with the Vivo X60 Pro. So almost other things remaining similar. It boils down to software and camera performance, so you can decide based on that. Now, if you ask me what is my personal choice, I would probably be inclined to choose the Vivo X60 Pro. Couple of reasons. Yes, software is better on the OnePlus 9, but for me, primary thing would be cameras. Cameras is better on the Vivo X60 Pro. You get 12 gigs of RAM, better build quality, slightly premium display experience in terms of curved display. Again, that's more of a personal choice. Then slightly better battery life, even though not a major thing, and you also get higher storage variant, 256GB storage, almost double the storage at the same price segment. So probably I would personally pick the Vivo X60 Pro, but again, you can make your own choices based on whatever we have mentioned in the video. So that is a detailed comparison of the Vivo X60 Pro with the OnePlus 9. Hope you enjoyed watching this video. Do hit that like button and also hit the red subscribe button for more videos. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you in our next video. Have a great day.